much of it.
Most of it.
Every second of it.
Do you love it?
Welcome. What?
You know. It was like a thing, right, in The Simple Life that like Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie would say.
Do you love it? That they say, do you love it?
They just got loves it.
Loves
like
it.
That was the thing. They just could be like
they were Gollum, like loves it.
They just
like that
loves
kind of.
it. And at one point,
really bad, I'm sorry.
Nicole's talking to this guy, and she just goes, "Do you love it?" And he just looks at her, and he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And she just goes, "It every second of it."
What?
You not seen The Simple Life?
I've not seen. No,
dude. At some point, we're absolutely going to watch The Simple Life. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Can I show you something?
Can you show me something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how many things we've been like, we should watch this thing together, and then we never do?
What I brought.
Wait, there is a thing in your bag. Wait, what?
For the...
Oh my God, his eyes. Okay. Oh, two. Is this a left in box thing?
Yeah.
Are these to stay in the studio, or are these to...
We can put them in the studio.
I mean, it's up to you. We need to...
I'm doing nothing with them, so we can put them in the studio.
If they're in a box at your house rather than like out on display, then I guess we can put them in here somewhere. We can find a place.
This is, by the way, for reference, the Jack and Gwen figures.
If we remember, we can take some pictures and put them on screen.
Yeah,
or we can find some online.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
I just have these. I was given them as a gift, and they've been sat in my house.
They're on little stands and everything. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. And then look on the back, they've got the other waves of toys and stuff.
First wave. Cyberwoman, of course. Second wave coming soon. Blowfish. Is Blowfish a season 1 thing?
Season 2.
Season 2, okay.
I'm going to wait for the Blowfish.
Ianto Jones, Toshiko Sato, Captain Jack Hart. Captain John Hart.
John Hart, yeah. Season 2 thing.
Is it a Captain Jack adjacent thing?
It's a whole thing.
Okay. Right, so for those not in the know who haven't listened to any other sort of Doctor Who Rewind stuff, I guess.
Sorry, it's just when you say that we sound legitimate.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have to sort of try.
If you
haven't listened to any other Rewind stuff, I've never seen Torchwood.
No.
You have seen all of Torchwood.
I'm quite a big Torchwood fan.
Yeah, okay. So,
I have the figures.
You have
like
the
a big
figurines.
I've got some comics too.
You know, you can sort of like smell the virginity coming off these actually. So last night, for the first time ever, I watched Torchwood episode 1, Everything Changes.
Did everything change?
So welcome to Torchwood Rewind, I guess. I'm not going to change the logo for it because we tried it and we just couldn't find a look that worked. We tried that last year, by the way.
That's insane. That's
when we were coming up with all the spin-off logos and stuff. That was the last year we couldn't do it. And then we decided just to change the colour scheme and that would be fine.
Yeah.
And it is.
It's fine.
So, yeah. So yesterday for the first time I watched Torchwood. Welcome to Torchwood Rewind. We watched episodes of Torchwood, I guess. We don't need a whole intro for it. It's just
the same vibe. We watched Torchwood.
Katie for the 11th time. Me for the first time.
Yeah.
I've never seen this show apart from last night, where I still stick by what I said of if you were there to see my reaction to some of these things.
I would have loved to have been.
They were in like I had to sort of tone myself down because I'm living at home at the minute with and so this was at like maybe 1 a.m. No, I probably started at about midnight, maybe just before midnight. And this was the most insane thing in the world to me.
Clearly, like as you know, you've said you don't have much of like a Torchwood backstory, right?
No, this is it.
Yeah, right.
We're watching the origins.
I'm like, I might have mentioned this on this show before, but I'll just do it.
But you were too young.
Yeah, I'll say it now. I was way too young to watch it because neither of my parents were really into Doctor Who. Like they knew of it and had seen some of it, but like they weren't really into it. So when I was into Doctor Who, it was kind of like, okay, this is like sort of Katie's little thing. Occasionally they'd be around when episodes were on and stuff. And I remember telling my mum that there was going to be like a spin-off about...
I don't know what a spin-off was.
About
until,
Captain
like,
Jack.
3 or 4 of Sarah Jane. I was like, oh...
And like I was like telling my mum about this new show with Captain Jack in it and stuff, and like could I watch it? And my mum was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then you get to like the first 10 minutes of the show where we drop a couple F-bombs, we say, hey, there's no afterlife, and we just get really dark and really grim with it.
Yeah,
kind of straight in.
Yeah.
And the only time anyone ever had a problem with this is when I went to the library that was near me when I was a kid, and I'd already read all of their Doctor Who books. But in the
virgin, sorry, carry on.
But in the like young adult section, there's some Torchwood novels, and I was like, "Oh, cool, Torchwood!" Like I've seen this show, and I'd gone with my grandma, and I went to go and check the book out, and I'm clearly like about 8, like, you know, a fucking child.
It's like the receptionist was like,
well, the woman was like, you can't have this book. And I remember being like, oh, why? And like my grandma was like, well, like, you know, why can't she have it? Like, because they were like, we're fine with her reading young adult books because she's read a lot of,
but they haven't seen the show.
A lot of children's
They're
books.
just letting you watch it.
And the woman was like, well, there's some like, you know, adult content in it. And my grandma was like, well, what adult content? And she was like, oh, like sex and violence and stuff. And my grandma was like, well, we're not doing that. And I was really upset about it. And I came and I was proper like stroppy about it. And like I came home and my mum was like, are you okay? And I was like, obviously upset. And like, no. And they were like, they said I couldn't have the book because it was like inappropriate or whatever. And now I'm like, yeah, it was. But like, because even my mum was like, that's stupid. You've seen the show. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Just for us context, was this grandma or granny?
This is grandma.
Okay. Just because I can imagine.
My granny would never. No,
I can imagine.
Not if there was language.
I can really imagine your granny being like, "Oh, Katie, I'm sorry, but we can't take this home today."
Oh, I don't know.
Like, and she would try and like actually make an excuse to soften the blow a bit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You should be like, well, you've already got lots of other lovely books, and you know you don't need this.
Like, well, you can always watch the show again.
Yeah, and I'm like, sure, yeah, right.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah, but I want to say, I don't know when Torchwood came out. What year? Well, you find
original air date, it says here, is the 22nd of October, 2006. Written.
So I was 7.
Yeah. This first episode was, I'll have been 6. This first episode was written by Russell T Davies and directed by Brian Kelly. Now, I didn't know spin-offs were a thing at all until around season 4 of Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
I don't remember when did I watch Sarah Jane? I honestly have no idea. It could have been after that. I think with Sarah Jane, I might have missed the first. I don't know. It was around the time Deadly 60 turned into Deadly Art as well on CBBC, if anyone remembers that. It was around that time. Anyway, everything changes. I'll go through the cast quickly, if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
So John Barrowman returns as Captain Jack Harkness.
Yep.
Problematicallys aside, we've talked about those, I think, when he was there before, so we're just going to go off the show's face value. Eve Myles as Gwen Cooper, who is fucking sick.
Gwen is one of my favourite characters in Doctor Who. Ever.
I think I've said to you before outside of this, and we've talked about like our type of person.
It's Gwen.
Because I've already said to you before, like, blondes are not, like, you know, typically I'm not into blondes. It's not, you know.
We've just come off 2 seasons of Rose, but
it's not like blondes aren't the deal. Yeah, I know, and I know I've said, like, she is, like, stunning.
Yeah.
I can still see that objectively. But there is something about looking, like, do you know in Resting Bitch Face?
Yeah.
Resting Sad Face is very much a thing.
Yeah, I have it.
That makes me go, oh, you sweet summer child.
I have it.
You don't have that. Then
Okay.
We're just going to breeze past that. Then Bern Gorman as Owen Harper, Nakoto Mori as Toshiko Sato, Gareth David Lloyd as Ianto Jones, Kai Owen as Reese Williams, who is, I think that's Gwen's boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
Indira Varma as Susie Costello, who I thought was going to be a major player.
Oh, she was advertised that way.
Because she's quite a big name in British TV. Game of Thrones, talking, she's in Legends of Vox Machina.
Yep.
She is currently, like as of, you know, now, narrating the Witches series of Discworld for the new Penguin audiobooks. She's also doing the Tiffany Aiken novels, which are like the YA sort of Discworld books as well. So she's doing like 2 series of Discworld on top of all this stuff. She's quite a big British name. So I was like, oh, she's in this. This must be, in my brain, I'm like, this must be sort of where she got her start. Because, you know, Billie Piper wasn't a huge household name until Doctor Who as well. And I believe that's it for like
actually, I think
and Paul Casey is the fucking Weevil. Of course he is.
Actually, it will become much more prevalent later. But is it Tom Price as PC Andy?
Yes, Tom Price as PC Andy.
Andy is a character who
comes back a lot.
Yeah, he's like recurring. So we'll give him a shout out
closer
now.
Up to, but of course the Wi-Fi sucks in here. So anyway, what are your initial sort of thoughts on this episode specifically of Torchwood?
Yeah, this one's great. I think
this one was like
it's because like
thinking about like having to, you know, start things and all. Excellent.
Well, like as I've told you, the quality of Torchwood is all over the place.
This episode, it's shot strangely. Sometimes the camera lingers just for an expression. And I don't know whether I love it or hate it. I'm leaning more way towards like love it, you know? You know, I saw the opening, you know, there's not like an opening credits thing. It just sort of goes.
Yeah, we just sort of get right into it.
Like the, you know, Kim Possible. Yeah. That's how it registers in my brain as the Doomsday beeps.
Yeah.
It has like the weird echo and stuff. So like my first note is just like Doomsday music, which I know is technically Torchwood music, but like it's Doomsday to me. I don't know how you want to go about this genre. It's just talk about the things that struck me.
I'll tell you what. We'll do it for anyone who has not seen Torchwood. Because I think
a brief synopsis of what happened.
I think that the crossover between maybe people not seeing Torchwood but listening to this might be. So basically the whole plot of this episode is that Gwen Cooper is a regular Welsh policewoman and she stumbles onto Torchwood and she just can't let it go.
She really can't.
She can't let it go.
There's also murders going on the side that she's investigating that are part
as
of
a
the
policewoman. Actually, I'll tell you what. He is where we'll start.
Okay.
What do you? Because obviously, Doctor Who, it's a smaller team. How do we feel about the full Torchwood team? Do you have any opinions on any of them yet? It's early to say.
So here is just as like a little background.
Obviously, Jack, it's Jack in it.
So Owen, Burn Gorman.
Yeah.
Owen. The only time I've seen him is in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Do you remember him in that?
Yeah.
In Flowers for Charlie.
Yeah.
That's the only experience I've ever had of him. And in that,
very different.
Yeah, he's very much older. He's not quite Cockney as he is in this. And in this episode, I go through an absolute emotion with him later that we will get to.
See, when I was a kid,
he's kind of, he's got that sort of. The thing is, he looks like a quote unquote nerdy sort of dude.
When I was a kid,
but he hasn't got the demeanor of that.
Owen was like my dream man.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted to be Gwen and I wanted to be with Owen. That was the divide that I had.
Is Gwen and Owen? No, Gwen and Owen surely isn't the will they won't they of the show. There's always one, but I feel like that's not because I've seen a scene of Gwen. Spoilers, I guess, even for me, telling her boyfriend what she does. I don't know if that's in season 1, 2, 3, or 4. I have no idea where that happens. And he is just like, you're insane. And she's no.
There's some weird relationshipy stuff, obviously.
Because her boyfriend is a dickhead, right?
Reese.
Yeah. Am I to believe that he is? I can see you trying to stare at me like to not give anything away. I can see what you're trying to do.
I don't know.
You don't know if he's a dickhead?
I don't know what your opinions of him being a dickhead or otherwise are.
Katie. Reese
I don't want to say anything.
Meant to be an a-hole?
The thing is, I don't know how he's meant to come across, but how he comes across to me
is a dickhead.
Is it a
dickhead?
I kind of love him.
If this dude turns out to be problematic as hell, that's going to be so telling.
In the listen, I just want to say as well, as a guy, as an actual dude, I don't know. However, Reese in the show,
have you ever
I enjoy
as a legitimate question, have you ever come across a male's perspective of this dude? Because I know that your Doctor Who, at least, when we talk about it, you've had very little in terms of friends who have known about this show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, even if I'm not the first, I'm gonna claim to be just cause. Just because I need that right now. But have you ever had a dude's perspective on this show? This is even spinny offy.
I'm the only person who I know who has seen Torchwood.
Oh, this is gonna be very interesting then.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I see why you've wanted to get to this.
Yeah. I literally I don't know anyone else who's ever seen it.
Okay, and I haven't, so we're gonna get all my first and raw thoughts on this. And I'm not very critical, by the way. I just want to say that out the gate. I'm just see what. And again, I am making notes whilst I watch it for the first time. There is some CGI I'm pretty sure was terrible that I sort of saw out the corner of my eye, and I feel like I missed it because I was writing a note at the time when the roof opens. I was like, does that suck? Because it looked like it sucked for a split second, and then they went up and out.
It's not good, but then at the same time, I'm like, spin off budget.
Yeah.
And
you
also,
don't get as much.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Owen.
Yeah, so Owen was the one that I think Owen is the one that's meant to make the impression, though. He's the one that you're meant. Him, Ianto is kind of, because he's the front man. He's he's the receptionist, I guess, when she walks in with the pizza. So I'm he is clearly a face-ish of this. My only other experience with Torchwood is Journey's End.
Yeah.
I guess that's it, right? First thing that struck me, actual blood.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the bit where that dude gets bitten. I mean, at the beginning, the dude is laying
in a pool of
his own blood in the rain. The rain stops very weirdly.
Yeah, do you know what my favourite part about that is as well? Is that when you first see Gwen, she has a little tiny cup of coffee, and I'm like, why are you trying to drink this in rain this bad? It's torrential. Yeah. That's the rain that happened that time when the races were on and we didn't realise, and we were at the pub.
And we went to McDonald's.
And just came back absolutely drenched, looking like drowned rats, and then everyone in the pub is all dressed up in their Sunday best because it was the fucking races.
But I had a tummy full of chicken select, so who do I care? What do I care?
Who do I care?
So Torchwood. kind of public knowledge now. It's like, that's really, when they show up and Gwen's like, who is this?
Yeah, they just say it's Torchwood.
And the captain's like, it's Torchwood. And I'm like, wait, so these aren't as covert as I clearly thought
it's
they
like
were.
people know about Torchwood, but we don't know what they do, because Andy says something later about how he bets that they're like DNA specialists.
Yeah, he says something like about forensics and that sort of shit.
Like they're a higher power, but no one really knows what that means.
Yeah. And this rain is torrential. It's real bad. There's like, if the rain is heavy enough for me to make a note about it, that's some heavy rain.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they try out the Infinity Gauntlet, the rain is like,
just stops.
Stop. Yeah, just stops.
Right.
Yeah, this Mark 1 Iron Man arse suit. There is some weirdness that I do enjoy, that like as Torchwood come in as rule breakers, Gwen is immediately not having it. Well, everyone else is like, yeah,
this is Torchwood.
Gwen is the one person who's like, fucking, hang on.
Yeah.
Why?
I was just going to say, it immediately makes her the most relatable character.
The most likable person.
The thing is, it's like she sees something weird and then she doesn't drop it.
And she asks the relevant questions.
And the thing is as well, I think that one of the things that we get, because essentially,
that was my D20 coaster bought for me by one of our university friends.
Yes. Shout out. You know who you are.
To the Universal Orlando unofficial podcast.
Friend of the show, Universal podcast.
Not all of them, but one of them at least.
But yeah, like Gwen essentially is the Rose of this show, right? This is the Rose of Torchwood.
She is the audience standing.
We gotta get to know her. Yeah. And I think that one of the things about her in this episode that works is that she's already police. Like, we already know, if you are watching this show, you presumably already know a few things about Torchwood.
I think that...
Or about Doctor Who, at least.
Yeah, I think that giving you someone who's a police person, at least gives you the foresight for them to, one, not be squeamish around dead things, and you don't have to be like, ew, this thing smells awful. They can just be like, just get on with the job.
A lot of the time, I think if Doctor Who is like the wonder of the universe, then Torchwood is a lot of the, darker,
the fucked up stuff
side of that. Yeah. And I feel like Gwen coming in and being like, okay, I can kind of accept this freaky shit. I just want answers. It works very well.
Yeah. So goes all the way up into the... because I still don't know about this. There you go. I can taste it. Estrogen. Definitely estrogen. Take the pill, flush it away, enters the cycle, feminizes the fish. I don't know if that's a payoff later, but it's not a payoff in this episode.
No, it's just a weird Jack thing.
They don't pay it off later.
They never pay off for estrogen in the rain.
The fuck?
It's just a weird Jack thing.
I was like, oh, this must be a thing for this
I like
episode
when they do the
on.
little like, oh, never getting pregnant again.
Well, that's what that's literally what I've highlighted is still, at least I won't get pregnant, never doing that again. How's it going? What?
Yeah.
Do we ever get...
No, the closest that we get to that is when that bit in the game station where they're like, the face of Bo is pregnant. That's literally the closest we ever get to paying that off.
But that's future Jack, right?
Who cares?
As far as I'm aware, face of Bo Jack, spoilers for Jack, which I still think this does not make sense, and it was just put there for no reason. Yeah. All right, fair enough. As much as I'm going to...
I'll tell you what, though.
I'm going to pick some of this apart.
We do, later in season 2 of Torchwood, get to see the Beauchamp Peninsula.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say, as much as I might pick some stuff in this episode apart, I fucking loved it, man. But I'm still cinema goggles with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, first time. Right?
Yeah. I'm still cinema goggles with it, and I'm still also like, for me, this is something new in the Doctor Who universe. So like Sarah Jane is there. I've watched it. I've loved it. I've done all that. Haven't done that with Torchwood, so I'm like, oh my god, it's something new. And it's around the era of Doctor Who I watched growing up as well, which I think is really like, oh, it's firing off in my brain. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
All this stuff is going on in the background of my favourite show, so it's great. So, my next note is like, did the Infinity Gauntlet stop the rain, or was that just convenience? It turns out it was just convenience, I guess.
Yeah, because the rain, like a power surge, but...
The rain stops alarmingly quick, right?
For the amount that was coming down, yeah.
I'm not sure how often these conversations with the dead go well, because, my god, are they bad at this?
Yeah.
If I raised some dude from the dead, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you died.
You died.
That would not be the first thing I say.
Well, I if you have 2 minutes, I just wouldn't tell them that they were dead.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, how? Oh, you fell. Are you okay? What happened?
Yeah, and then you would see what...
You just passed out. Are you good, dude?
Yeah. And also, they know that he got stabbed in the back. They mention this.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're like, what did you see? Well, if you know he got stabbed in the back, was it a hug? Would you
That's what Tosh says to him. Well, not to him, but that's what Tosh says, where she's like, what am I supposed to ask him? Because they're not there to investigate. They are there to test.
So Tosh, I'm just gonna find it because I'm on the thing now. First thing Tosh says, listen to me, we've only got 2 minutes, so it's important that you listen. It's after he's revived already is when she first speaks in this episode. So it's important to me that you listen, okay? The dead guy says, who are you? She says, trust me, you're dead. He says, how am I dead? Owen says, you were stabbed. The dead fella says, I'm not dead, I can see you. And Tosh says, we've brought you back, but we haven't long left. I'm not sure, but we've got to concentrate. What did you see? And Tosh, sorry, Kate, I don't want to be that person. I know that she said, it's after the fact, right? It's after he dies again that she must have said, like, what did you expect me to say? Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, because it doesn't happen before that. And I'm like, well, surely if you can resuscitate someone for a few minutes, I know they say the body needs to be fresh. He's clearly been here for a while anyway. What is an extra few minutes to discuss this gonna what's it gonna do?
Very little.
But I guess that's me applying logic to something that just does not need it. It's just an introductory thing. I think it's really cool where he's like, what did you see? And he's like, nothing. Oh God, it's nothing. There's nothing afterwards, is there? And then he just dies. And I'm like, whoa, that's so dark. I love it. Keep it up.
Yeah, that's a thing. We just coming in and we're just saying, hey, there's no afterlife.
Sorry. It was like 1 a.m, wasn't it, when I watched this? So I'm finding notes that I didn't realise I had. And one of them just says, defund the police, in brackets, but not you, Gwen.
All cops are bastards. Not Gwen Cooper, though.
You can have some money.
To be fair, Gwen is very quick to leave the police force.
At the end of this, it was her leaving. She just quits.
Yeah. She just joins Torchwood.
That's insane to me that she is like, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm not going to be a police woman and do Torchwood in the background.
I'm just going to be an alien
quit
hunter.
my day job. I'm
basically 90%. Because the thing is,
what's the payroll on that?
I've seen the show a good few times. Yeah. Not anywhere near as many times as I've seen Doctor Who. So while I know more than you, I don't know everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is basically it. She basically just gets a better offer and jumps at the chance straight away. And to be fair, don't blame her.
Is that not how all people work?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to assume this is the Doctor Who spin-off that doesn't reuse the Slitheen 18,000 times.
Yeah, okay, there is no Slitheen in Torchwood.
I don't think no Slitheen is the right option, but fine. I guess that's okay.
Not the call I would have gone for. But to be fair, I think they bring up the extrapolator and shit.
Oh, that's cool. Point, so Gwen goes home.
Yeah.
Jack does the, hey, what do you think? And it's like, it's that, there's this otherworldly thing that people like to do. And it happens in books as well, and comics and stuff. Do you know when someone is turned away, but they know someone's behind them and they're like, what are you, you can sit there and watch. And then the person is like, oh God, they know I'm here. Know I'm, That's the, that sort of trope, I guess. I think it's done well here.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, she is clearly the more inquisitive of the police.
I think I'll buy as well, because Jack does not do anywhere near as many of the things that the Doctor can do, but he's essentially the Doctor of the show, I guess.
Yeah, right. He's the leader fella.
Yeah,
he knows the most as well.
One of those times where I'm kind of like, I will give you a pass on that,
unknowing that she is just sort of there. Then she goes home.
Yeah,
she says she's gone to bed. I just want to say her boyfriend stares at her ass as she walks away. And I mean, you see his eyes actually go from looking at her to looking at her ass to looking back at her. And I saw his eyes and I was like, you sketchy
you
little
guy.
boy,
I mean, it's her boyfriend.
Oh yeah, I'm not if you... People like to be looked at. And I'll admit, it's nice. Can't wait to experience it one day. But
if you ever bring a girl around anytime and I ever catch you looking at her ass, by the way, I'm just going to be like, excuse me, Reese, what are you doing?
And I'll be like, looking at her ass.
What do you think?
I'm going to go all straight man about it. So yeah, he definitely gives her a little, a little look-see. But then we get to the police station.
Yes.
I think it's either the police station or it might be, because I'm pretty sure this entire episode in sort of novel, not TV terms, is from Gwen's POV the whole time.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't just cut to Jack doing a random thing.
Yeah, we stick with Gwen.
We stick with Gwen. And so I'm pretty sure it's in the police thing where they were like, 2 out of the 3 victims are stabbed from the front.
And this other one was in the back.
What does that mean? And someone's like, it means they're a coward. No. Judging by those statistics, 2 stabbed in the front, not a coward. Of the 3.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 times, not cowardly. Actually very fucking full on, to be fair. India Varma, why are you doing that? What are you doing that for? I'm not very happy with you. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed in it. Keep forgetting the names. Susie Costello.
Yes.
That's another thing with me not seeing this show before.
The names.
Trying to get the names is real difficult for me right now. I will get there. I promise I will get there. And then Jack runs by and goes up the stairs. And you can't miss that coat, can you?
It is iconic.
It's almost as iconic as the duster from Sunny. I'm not burning the duster. That kind of thing. He runs up the stairs and she follows him and she ends up in the back rooms, right? It's basically where she... I was like, oh, Gwen's in the back rooms. Cool. And the thing about the Weevil is it is malicious. Not always.
No.
It must be a get too close thing.
You know, when we were talking
You've mentioned the Weevil before, I know that.
Yeah, I have mentioned the Weevil before. You know how we were talking in whenever that episode of Rewind went up about how the cast of Sunny would be in the TARDIS?
Yes.
Charlie would be king of the Weevils.
Oh,
living in the sewers, king of the Weevils.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think he would be a Weevil. He would still be a human.
Yeah, they would just respect him as their king.
Yeah, he would just somehow usurp the role of whoever was at the top and
someone would find him and they'd be like, Charlie, you don't have to be doing this. And he's like, have to be doing anything.
You know the episode where they're like, Ryan Gosling playing you? Ridiculous. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's how I feel he would be as a tyrant the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I need to watch today's episode. I haven't yet, but I can't wait to. It's going to be real fun. Yes, she ends up in the back rooms. Here's my notes, right? Here in quick succession. Gwen couldn't miss that coat.
No, she could not.
Next line down. Gwen follows Jack into the back rooms. Then there's a little arrow pointing to my next note that says, "What the fuck is that?"
Did we miss the part in the pub where she gets her head bashed in? Because some of my notes are out of order. But all I'm saying is that the Gwen, dumbest decision you make, probably up there, definitely. Because I'm like, you are getting way too close to this thing for someone who is like concussed.
Yeah, no, it is before that she gets into the fight. Before all this, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she gets a big head slam against the wall.
So, yes, sorry. So my notes say Gwen follows Jack into the back rooms. Then then I see the Weevil and I write down, what the fuck is that? Then my next line of notes, all caps. Holy shit, it got him in the neck. Because I just wasn't expecting the blood. I'm expecting the attack. Like, do you know, I'm expecting this to be like...
It's a full-on, like, splatter as well. It's like a spray.
Oh, it goes up, it gushes. It's because the first thing... Like, when I see it, I'm like, it's going to attack. And then Gwen keeps her distance, clever, like smart Gwen, which, you know, then as an orange, you go, she is smart, great. And she gets to it, and it's fine, it's all well and good. And then this other dude, the porter, I think it is, just completely is like, oh yeah, that's like out of Hellraiser. Gets too close.
Well, like puts his finger out, trying to look at these teeth. And
Weevil's just like, scran.
Yeah.
Food.
Did somebody say, just eat?
And the porter's like, not me. And then dies. Fucking
And then
dies.
all of Torchwood just appears. They just...
Do they all? Does all of them show up?
Yeah,
'cause
they're
she follows
all
them, right?
there, yeah.
She gets in the car and she's like,
and they're like,
those guys.
put a bag on its head and like, you know, take it
As
away.
it goes away. Yeah. And you know, then I think then you start getting into the Doctor Who references like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Look up Jack Harkness. Oh, there was only one. He was American. He disappeared in the Blitz.
Yeah, failed to report for duty.
Yeah, and then you get the rift. Right.
Yeah,
you are right outside the rift, and I don't know. I was kind of a little bit like, oh, that must be where the TARDIS landed. And then as soon as he says it, I'm like,
that's why.
But the way he's like, is maybe it's almost as if this happened. I'm like, shut up, Jack. Just tell her how it is.
Yeah. Do you think she's not going to believe? It's almost as if it did. She'll believe you at this point.
But and then you get the perception filter thing as well, which isn't until later, but you see its effect here.
Yeah.
Where she's like, they've gone. They've just disappeared. But people, the dude, I've forgotten who it was. It's after the radio. Is it Andy?
They're the other.
Yeah.
The other police dude.
Andy. So quick, PC Andy, to be like, you're mental.
Yeah.
Actually, go home. You're crazy.
He has a great line at some point as well where they're talking about it was like special forces in Cardiff, and he was like, what are they going to do? Measure the velocity of a kebab?
Yeah, I think it's around this time, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a fucking great line.
I sort of like as well that like Gwen keeps being like, so to like tell me more about these things while she's investigating, and everyone else is just like, fine. Like no one's being like, oh, Gwen, maybe you don't want to look into this. They're all just kind of like, oh, whatever, fine.
Well, yeah, and I think as well, again, with the cast of this show, and it might just be a weird brain thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm actually like saying a valid thing. Maybe I'm not. Everyone just looks normal. Even Myles looks like your mother's best friend that she picks up the kids from school with, and you only ever see her on the walk to and from school, but you know she's your mom's best friend. Like that, she has that look about her where it's just like, I would pass you on a street. Yeah. You're so unsuspecting. There's nothing, other than like maybe John Barrowman, I guess, because I know his face already, there is nothing Hollywood or show business about anyone else here. They're just people. Yeah. And I'm like, it's so good.
And as we see later as well, they all act like people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you notice is it the Kooks? What is it? The Kooks that were on the radio at the pizzeria?
Oh, were they?
I love her because she moves.
Oh, was that the song? I didn't notice.
Yeah, it was. That's all. That's the only thing I noticed. I was like, came to my show just to hear.
Yeah, again, and speaking of like normal people thing. When it's just like, my plan is to get in here with a pizza delivery.
Well, I mean, even the pizza dude being like, oh, we get Torchwood orders all the time.
Yeah, like they're really good customers.
Like because what has the pizza shop got to hide? It's a pizza shop.
Same with Jack later being like, who the fuck orders a pizza under the name of Torchwood? No one's like, that's me, I'm a dick.
Yeah, he calls himself a twat. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm a twat. I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm fine. No. I didn't kick the desk. Shut up.
Walk it off, man.
I can't. I broke my toe. But this is when Gwen sort of meets Torchwood, I guess. She gets down into the...
Yeah, sees everyone, sees the whole thing. What do you think about the hub? I love it. I think it's such a good...
This is where I sort of was like, Torchwood aren't hiding, like trying too hard to hide themselves. You find out later why.
Yeah, like they don't need to.
Because Jack is just like, forget, and then she does, and like, fair enough. But they're not that difficult to track down. But what do I think about the Batcave?
Yeah, it's cool, innit? I love it,
It's cool. I mean, I've seen it before in Journey's End.
Yeah, but like you get the full...
Which for me is good, because it means I get the consistency.
Yeah.
There's not like a weird drastic change between... you don't get that TARDIS change that happens between like seasons 4 and 5. But, okay, no, I'm like, okay, so if this is season 3 of Doctor Who, or did this aired between seasons 2 and 3, right? Of Doctor Who, like December?
The way that it lines up is the last episode of Torchwood lines up with the last episode of season 3 of Doctor Who. Well, not the last episode, but Utopia. That's the way it lines up, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Because I'm like, okay, so season 2 of Torchwood, which is sort of where it fizzles off, I guess, and they end it, because then you get Miracle Day and Children of Earth sort of not a full season. Or they've got titles. They're weird. Those
Children of Earth is just 5 episodes, but then Miracle Day is 10.
It's a weird sort of thing to give them a title more so than a season 3.
I much prefer...
That makes them feel different to me. Like you've got season 1, season 2, then you've got Miracle Day. And
I do much prefer the like sort of full season round one thing, because I think it works better for Torchwood than like the Monster of the Week format, but...
I'm guessing seasons 1 and 2 are Monster of the Week.
They've still got arcs and stuff. Yeah, it's mostly Monster of the Week.
Okay. I mean, I'll find out when we get there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a fun little journey. How? Okay, I do like the Batcave. It's fine. I think it's...
Sorry.
What have you done?
I was bled on your cushion.
Bled?
Yeah.
How do they have the hand? Oh, wait, there's a pterodactyl there. Just cause...
The hand fell. The hand got cut off and it fell. This is the like Jack is the one to put it in there and
does he take it off, Jack, in Utopia?
Yeah. Because when he goes, Jack brings the hand with him
to track down the Doctor. He uses that to track the Doctor, right?
He like runs out and he's got the hand, and that's when the possession gets passed back to the Doctor. But in all of this time, like Jack has it. So the only way that I assume, because I don't know if they ever explain sort of how and why, but all I can think of is that Jack found like the stumpy hand that had been cut off. And he was like, that's the Doctor's hand, better keep this. Yeah. Because that's like Jack's whole thing with being stuck on Earth. Is being like, I need to, like he says to Gwen, when he's like, I'm looking for the Doctor.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to assume he grabs the hand, he has it, and up until Utopia, and then he's like, I used this to track you down, have it back. And then he just has the hand, I guess, from that point.
Essentially.
All right. Okay. I was just like, in terms of the timeline of things.
Yeah, if you just assume that Jack found it and put it in the little tank, then it works.
Then my next note is Owen is a self-confessed twat, so that must be roughly where we are at in the in the episode here.
Yeah.
I will say, I do love the the awkward walking. Everyone's hard at work, and then it's Owen who starts to laugh and just can't.
I think that really says like a lot about Torchwood as well, is that they collectively have come up with a bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, you've got this thing. It's like secret government. It's like Men in Black, but imagine if like Men in Black, but they were all just goofy and laughing about.
Yeah, they're just
time,
all people that like somehow, and they're all just like regular people. Because that is the thing. They're all regular people.
Well, I think with any Doctor Who spin-off, you have to go Doctor Who is doing the big bads, and then you've got your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man sort of thing going on down here. You've got Sarah Jane, who is doing the street level stuff with the kids in the school, and you got these guys helping the adults in Cardiff and all that sort of thing. You're like, okay, fair enough. I think it does it really well though. And then a thing with leathery flaps for wings, screeches overhead. What was that? Pterodactyl. I get making the bunker mysterious. I don't know what it's actually called. They have a name for it?
They just call it the hub. Just the Torchwood hub.
Torchwood hub, okay. Like, I understand. I'm going to keep calling it the bunker because I just prefer it. But
it has a name, the pterodactyl.
The pterodactyl has a name?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
The pterodactyl has a name.
It was one of the few moments I was like, okay, but why?
Fun.
Just cause?
She's kind of a recurring character.
She? What's the name of the pterodactyl, Katie?
It's a Welsh name and I'm going to butcher it. But I'm pretty sure isn't like Mafanwi or something.
Mafanwi?
Yeah. I don't know how I'm not Welsh. I'm fucking awful with languages.
I just didn't expect.
But yeah, the pterodactyl's called like Mafanwi.
Didn't expect it to recur, really. I expected it to just be.
There is one part I might have already shown you it. I'm not even going to say anything because we'll get to it in like a few weeks.
It's in this season.
It's in like 2 episodes.
Okay.
And I can't wait to...
With a pterodactyl, I'm guessing it's a pterodactyl.
I can't wait to discuss this.
When she goes to see the wee... Oh, wait, no. My first question, how come no one took a slice of Gwen's pizza? Because I'd have been like, I'll show you around, but I'm taking a slice first.
The thing is as well, she only brought 2 pizzas, and I reckon the Torchwood team need at least like 1 each, right? Pulling those long nights, doing that research. At minimum
3 pizzas to get.
Because those aren't big either.
No.
That she brings in. They're like 10 inches.
Like, I'd be like, yeah, thanks for the pizza. Let's go. I'll show you around. But I'd be still eating the pizza.
Yoink.
Free slice, right?
But that's the question. Did Gwen buy the pizzas?
She must have spent money to get here. Right?
Like when she finds out that they deliver to a Torchwood, did she obviously she asked the guy for the address, but then did she also be like, oh hey, can I get like 2 whatevers?
You gotta pay the troll tolls to get into the boys' hole, okay? You gotta pay the troll toll to get in. But yeah, so when she goes to see the Weevil, which I guess she just
in like the little Torchwood prison cells.
This is a Weevil. Is this a Weevil or the Weevil? Is this the only one you see in the show, or do you see like multiple different Weevils?
We will see more Weevils.
Fucking great.
It's one of those things.
Is the Weevil Torchwood's Dalek?
It's Torchwood Slitheen.
Well, yeah, but I guess in the way recur.
I just in the way that Sarah Jane is, because like the Weevils show up, because like they say, the Weevils are basically like rats.
Yeah. I thought they were kind of apey.
No, I know, but I mean like in terms of like a pest problem where they're like, we got to like, you know.
I was just say, because did you mean like the sort of the nose and the way that they grunt and their teeth? Like,
yeah, they're like.
I was like, that's a bit primate-y sort of thing going on. But yeah, she goes there, and that's when I started paying attention to like the walls of Torchwood. It looks like it fucking stinks.
And it looks like it'd be freezing as well.
It looks horrible and cold. And you were like, oh, I love the way the hub looks. Nah, man, I'll be in a blankie.
For what it is, it's not too like dissimilar to this garage.
I was going to say, so I get that it's a literal underground operation. This garage isn't like Torch. Shut up. It doesn't smell. There is no...
There's no Lego in Torchwood.
There's no pterodactyl. There's no Lego in Torchwood. What? Lego? You're pointing at the Lego?
I'm pointing at a pterodactyl right now.
Oh, shit.
You fucking knobhead. I
have a Lego pterodactyl. But it's dead. It's a skeleton. It's a fossil. It's a Lego fossil. Shut the fuck up about it. Be quiet about it. All right? I hate you.
I like that my little puffin is still in here.
Your little puffin?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was the house
A little puffin still here.
Because at first you were going to get a rewind neon light. And then you were like, puffin.
We'll still do it, man.
Kinder Egg, we can't. I priced it up. Maybe if we got maybe if I was in an actual permanent place of residence, then for a studio we would do it.
I want it so bad, man.
I know, and you want the bead curtain, right? How badly do you want the bead curtain in here?
So bad.
Torchwood.
Anyway, yeah, Torchwood.
And that lift is horrible.
Yeah, I would not.
It's moving so slowly and up so high, I'd get vertigo, vomit, and fall off.
I'll tell you what as well, though. I think I would be much more intimidated by going into Torchwood than I would be going into the TARDIS.
Why?
Because I think that the TARDIS has a sense of like otherworldly wonder about it that Torchwood doesn't have, like the hub.
Okay.
Like, it's not designed to look like a friendly place.
Oh, like it's kind of claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it and I was like, God, if I was in that desk all day, I would want to slam my head against the wall.
There is other parts of the hub as well that you just do not see in this first episode.
Well, you see, there's a morgue down there, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole morgue.
Yeah.
Just cause.
Like there's a few more parts of it that you see as well, but.
Oh man, what a horrible place. Another thing that I have, I mean, I guess. Because we haven't really seen Jack properly until this point. He looks so young. Like John Barrowman in this show looks super young. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to him being like not even old, but older. I think in Doctor Who he always looks a little bit older, except for in season 1. But I guess we don't see him until the end of season 3 now, and then even that's for only a bit.
Obviously, this show does a lot of heavy lifting with Jack.
Yes.
And there is way more Jack backstory, or as I like to call it, Jack story.
Fucking no.
There's one great episode. The thing is, because like I know that we are going to watch the show, I'm trying to hold myself back so hard.
Spoilers and stuff, because this is the thing that you could like actually spoil for me, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously, I wouldn't, but there's so many things that I want to be like, in this episode, this thing is really cool. Like I wouldn't spoil it, but I'd say it very vague. But then I'm like, we're going to get to it.
Yeah.
Because there are some episodes of this show that go so dark.
And this isn't the darkest it gets. I mean, like I say, I'm pretty sure that
there's one.
Pretty sure that Reese is an arsehole.
There's one that haunts me, like straight. Oh, wow. Like to this day, still when I think about it, I'm like, I need to go and take a long walk and sit down.
Am I allowed to know where it is located?
Towards the end of season 2.
Okay.
So it's like a while away, but like,
is that the one where Gwen tells Reese? And Reese is I feel like Reese is a dickhead. I don't know why, right? I have no idea, but something in my brain is going, he's a dickhead. And the problem is, when you say, oh, you know, I kind of like Reese, that solidifies to me that he's probably a dickhead. As per your taste in people. Not like love interest, just people in general. You know what I mean?
You are my taste in people. What are you saying?
We both know. You tell me you humble me on a regular basis. And we both know it. Here is a note that I interrupted myself on.
Okay.
I've interrupted myself, like writing a note and then gone like, no, I can't write that because the show just negates what I was writing. Which is when Jack is like, no equipment can leave the base. And it cuts to Tosh. I think, is she called Toshiko? Tosh?
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't said much about Tosh.
Cuts to, well, she's not really prevalent in this one.
Tosh takes a bit of a backseat in this episode, which is a shame because she is
a good character.
Like, if you could ask me my favourite member of Torchwood, I couldn't tell you.
I mean,
I love them all.
That
so
either
much.
means the show does terribly characterizing or does really good, but I'm going to assume it's good. But he's like, you know, none of the equipment can leave the Torchwood base, and Gwen's like, yeah, makes sense, and it cuts to Tosh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, she took something. So I started writing down silly Tosh. I got to the T in Tosh.
And then it cuts to
everyone else having something, you know, like the little aftershave and the infinity gauntlet. And I just wrote a little hyphen and put, never mind, silly everyone.
Oh, do you know what's a great Tosh line? It's a Tosh line as well.
In this
like
episode?
Speaking of, yeah.
Okay.
Is later on when the pterodactyl flies overhead and Gwen goes, what was that? And Tosh just doesn't even look and she just goes, pterodactyl.
Yeah.
Just so chill.
Like, oh, great. So this is when we get the explanation of Torchwood's.
Yeah, we do. Also, her little book thing, her little book scanner that she has, Tosh, that she takes, because they all take
a little souvenir.
Yeah,
right?
Tosh has a little book scanner. endlessly useful for uni, by the way.
Would it be?
Reading lists.
I sort of forgotten how it works. Oh,
she holds it to a book and then she puts it on the thing and it scans
Great
it
Expectations,
all.
like a Tale of Two Cities.
Tale of Two Cities, yeah. And it just all scans in. And I'm like, that would be infinitely useful.
That's not Alien, that's just a scanner. I have one right behind you, actually.
Well, she has that, and then Susie takes the resurrection gauntlets.
Yeah.
And then Owen has the pheromone spray, which, bit date rapey.
Bit?
Sorry. Date rapey.
Very much so. Sleazy, horrible, makes me want to vomit, cry. And then, cry more afterwards. So this is Torchwood 3.
Yes.
Torchwood 1 was Canary Wharf. Dead.
Yep.
Torchwood 2 in Glasgow, Strange Man.
It's
Peter Capaldi later.
It's a extended media thing, I'm pretty sure.
And then Torchwood 4 is missing. Do they address that ever again? Is this a thing that they play back to?
Listen, as far as I'm aware, no.
Don't give me these questions, Torchwood. I don't because I'm like, there is so much potential in these.
Oh,
so much in these little seeds that you're dropping, Jack, that I'm just like, yeah, hell yeah, this sounds awesome. And so the Weevil, I had it misconstrued that the Weevil killed the beginning dude, which I think is just an issue in the sequence of events and the writing in this, where they're talking about the Porter dude.
Yeah.
And Captain Jack's like, do you want to see the murderer? And in my head, I'm like, oh, it's the murderer of the case.
Yeah, no, the murderer of that guy.
And I'm like, I couldn't tell whether I'm like, is it just a weird mistake in the writing or is it to make you as a viewer go like, oh, this is the murderer from the beginning?
Well, he says you saw the murderer. Now, like, meet the murderer.
Yeah, but in my brain, I'm like, he just means victim.
Well, that's like his whole thing, isn't it? Where he's like, he sits her down and he's like, this is from another world, look into its eyes. Which, by the way,
horrible eyes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul Casey. Beautiful eyes. But under that mask, don't do that. Stop looking. Close them. Close them. Okay? My next note is Owen looks so McFly it hurts. Do you know when he's in the little pub?
Yeah.
So here is my roller coaster that I think you would have loved my reaction to.
Yeah.
In this pub where he sprays the thing and she's like, yeah,
she's like, coming home with me.
She is not interested at all. He does a little.
Well, he has a whole bit where he's like, I've got work in the morning, I can't be asked for this, and then just sprays himself.
Yeah, and I'm like, sleazy and horrible. No, Owen. But I put in caps, you can see this. Owen, no, bad.
Yeah.
And so this bit carries on for a hot minute. And I'm expecting something to him to get his little comeuppance. And I'm like, yeah, this dude's going to get fucked up in a second. And nothing happens. And she's still, and she's walking on the street and I'm like, what the fuck is this show doing? Like, is this just a bit that has aged horribly? Am I meant to think it's sleazy? Am I meant to think he's cool? Because I don't think he's cool. It's fucking horrible.
It's a scene that has been cut from some re-airings of the show.
Not iPlayer, let me tell you, because that's how I watched it.
Yeah, me too.
Subtitles didn't work though, which I kind of felt like I needed at the time. So I put, what the fuck? And then the boyfriend comes out and I started writing, ha.
Yeah, like he's going to get his shit rocked.
Yeah, so I was like, ha.
No.
He's going to get the comeuppance that I was expecting. Then he sprays again. And I just wrote, never mind, this is a roller coaster. I don't know how I feel. And that is my note verbatim. It's just IDK how I feel. And I was just left like, what?
Mm-hmm.
This is all right? Russell.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is,
I'm going to assume there is other people, it's a show. He is running it. He's exec producing, I guess, and all this stuff. And Russell is, made Doctor Who a massive success and now he can do spin-offs and stuff. That whilst he wrote this script, I don't think he wrote everything in this. This just does not feel like a Russell scene to me. Maybe it is, and maybe it's just an age thing. I guess, a lot of time has passed and standards have changed since this.
I think that this was written well-meaning and has aged poorly.
Yeah,
however, even at the time, I don't think this went... Because, the thing is, I was 7. I wasn't,
Yeah.
I wasn't reading Radio Times every week. I wasn't up on shit, but... It's not a good look.
The way I see it, from a face value TV standpoint, appeal to an audience. If you could have an aftershave that would make people want to shag you, would you do it? And I can tell you now, most people would go, obviously I'd use it. Because it's definitely a pub conversation. That.
Oh, yeah,
That is if you could have a scent, right?
Yeah, if you could just make people want to shag
you. And they would be like, yeah, all right then. Would you do it? And 9 out of 10 people would probably say yeah. And conceptually, fair enough. I guess that's the conversation that would be had. But like seeing this and putting it in practice, I'm like, this is sleazy and horrible. Don't do it. And I do think it is definitely more of a standards thing that has changed.
Yeah.
In the way that we see people as, you know, it's where the TV and stuff now is way less. I'd like to think it is way less objectifying than it was, but I guess in a lot of cases, The Idol. Were you just going to say The Idol? Have you seen it? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't, but I've seen Euphoria.
I haven't seen Euphoria either.
Don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Season 1 Euphoria, solid. Season 2, well, I say solid, there's issues, but season 2 just takes a fucking... The only reason that I would say that Euphoria is worth watching is that every single week Zendaya gives an absolute masterclass in acting.
I'm not...
But I don't think it's...
I'm not the biggest Zendaya fan anyway.
There is...
Like, not in like, I hate her. Like, I'm not like that. I'm just like, impartial to Zendaya.
I love her. I've seen her since like Shake It Up on Disney, right?
I saw Shake It Up. Don't worry
like,
about that.
There is one episode in season 2 that's just entirely focused like on her. And it is one of the most harrowing things that like...
So when you say don't watch it, are you like trauma don't watch it, or are you like bad TV don't watch it?
Both.
Bad TV in season 2?
Season 1 made that show seem like it was going to do something really cool. And then season 2 was just like half your cast.
Undoing it.
Yeah, half your cast already doesn't want to work with you. The guys that are staying on say that you're a piece of shit, and the writing has crumbled. You've left off so many plot lines. You don't know how to handle a show like this. You want to make everything look like a fucking music video, and you're exploiting your cast to do it.
Is it like, I'm guessing, to like HBO do nude shit and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, like Sydney Sweeney said something about how in like literally the majority of the scenes that she was written topless just cause.
That's fucking weird. I mean, it was the same thing with, because I haven't seen all of Game of Thrones, but I know that because there was a controversy about it on Twitter, Arya being nude in like the last season at one point. And I don't know if you see anything of that. And I would be like, if for a maturity thing, probably all right. But in terms of like, you guys as showrunners have known her since she was 13. That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, if it narratively makes sense, I guess, but I'm pretty sure it was like season 8, right?
Yeah.
So it probably didn't make narrative sense.
The thing is,
you were just going for shock value on it.
I think I know the part that you are talking about, and it adds nothing to the show.
Oh, great. Awesome.
So
fucking here. I mean, I stopped to season 4 and then stopped just because I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
You had maybe one good season left of that show in you.
So. Oh, I don't care. And I won't go back to it, and I will only read the books if they finish.
Yeah.
I have enough faith in Sanderson to be like, hey, these are like the likelihood of them finishing pretty high.
Yeah.
I know that Stormlight is going to be 2 arcs, and the last book of the first arc is next year, and then there's going to be a time jump. So I know that next year I'm getting a conclusion. So I'm like, I know it's fine. I'll get to Game of Thrones at some point if it manages to be finished. But will it?
Wishful thinking, yes.
And I can't even fault George Martin on that, you know.
Yeah.
If I'd earned a bunch of money from an adaptation and I didn't and I had enough money to never work a day again in my life.
And also, the guy's writing a book.
I'm like, do you feel at that point? Do you feel like the story needs to be told now? Like, modern fantasy is in such a strong position where I don't know if George Martin is like, oh, do they need my voice? Because I'm like, do they?
I would like him to finish these books for the fact that I have read most of them and I want a conclusion. But at the same time, if this guy never manages to give me a conclusion, that's so fine because everyone needs to maybe chill on stressing him out. Like, I want it to, but just...
And also, it's not like there is no other fantasy out there doing the things that he is doing. You've got, I mean, John Gwen doing Blood Swan stuff and First Law, all like doing grimdark stuff. It all exists. Fine, Torchwood. I love a good old tangent. Speaking of just, you know, doing horrible things to get your own way with that little spray bottle of perfume or whatever.
Yeah.
Then Jack drugs.
Yeah.
Gwen.
Yeah, he retcons her.
He does. And that's the phrase he uses too, right?
Yeah, that's what it is called. Just throughout as well as retcon. Yeah.
Do they use it more than once?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's not great, at least in my brain.
Yeah. I mean,
in this case, I feel like
this is the most innocent case of drugging someone you could ever have. However, it's still not great.
No, for Torchwood, make yourself more difficult to find. Like, my God, follow you in a car, go to the nearest pizzeria, and you are there. Is that all it takes?
For this super secret organization that's like, what, beyond the police, outside the UN,
we're
beyond government, you know, like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Literally all Owen's fault.
And then Reese wakes up at 7:30. He's awake and fucking dressed. Must be miserable. He must be miserable.
Well, he's
a dickhead.
They do say that he is like a lorry driver, so that would
it's stupid hours, yeah. Fair enough. The weapon design is kind of sick with the 3 blades.
It is very, very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because Gwen is, and I really like the part in the bar when like she says something and Jack's like, well, if you like, what's the point anyway, or whatever. And then she's like, have you poisoned me? And he's like, don't be so dramatic. He's like, it's just an amnesia thing.
Do we see that weapon in? I'd have to go back and check when Gwen is there, like in the background.
I genuinely don't remember. Maybe if we looked in the background, we could find it, but I don't know if it's like out on display.
It would be cool. I like it when something goes, you could have put this together, but you didn't. Which I guess you still probably sort of, you could, if you saw that picture on the board and you were like, that was in the background of the thing.
Well, like the detective says to her, there can't be many knives like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like a knife with 2 other like fins, like sharp
but they're
fins
on opposite sides and opposite lengths away from the main.
So there's like 3 sort of blades.
Yeah, it's like a cross, I guess, if you looked at it from the front.
Yeah. Well, that's like how they say as well about the gauntlet and stuff, is it's like traumatic.
Yeah.
Deaths give you like a better response to it.
Yeah. And then we sort of like, I guess that the next sort of things happen very, very quickly where Gwen...
Well, yeah, Gwen goes home, she runs home, she makes herself a bunch of notes, which, by the way, she ends those notes with that just says, they made you amnesia.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, I think that the one thing that sets Gwen aside is that she writes it down on paper too. She just writes the word remember. Yeah,
she writes the word remember.
Which is the one thing that I guess puts her above the...
On the what's it, on like the thing for Roald Dahl Plus. It's like a tourist guidebook thing. Because
Ianto goes in and he's like, delete!
Yeah.
Imagine if someone did that to like one of your assignments. Just highlighted itself and was like, gone.
Let's not think about that.
What if I did that to you? Sabotage.
You would be the only one who would listen to me complain about it. So what would you do? Like, who is that benefiting?
Me, because I could just ignore you. I could just be like, whoa, yeah, crazy. The entire time. I'd be like, whoa, cool. What happened in X-Men? And you would be immediately distracted by an X-Men thing, and you would start writing about X-Men and forget that it ever happened. And then you'd be, retconned.
Yeah.
What about that? What about that bit?
X-Men? Retcon? No.
Never.
No.
Comic books retconning?
No.
Never. Their continuity is solid.
Jean Grey was the fucking Phoenix. I don't care what anyone says.
Was she not the Phoenix?
They were like, she was hidden in a cocoon and it did
a different person completely.
Yeah, the Phoenix was a different entity to Jean Grey. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was Jean Grey.
Like identity or like actual physical, it was a different physical person.
No, it was like the Phoenix became Jean Grey and the real Jean Grey had lived in a little cocoon just outside of all of that and stuff. And then when I'm like, no, it was Jean Grey.
Let her be an evil person for a bit.
Let her be corrupted by an evil force. You don't have to do this shit. Fuck everything, man.
Then the Discworld narrator lady is the bad person.
Yeah.
Susie. She's the not good. She kills herself and everything.
I love all of this stuff with her at the end as well.
Yeah, I think it's a weird motive.
I don't think it is. I like it.
No, I do think it's a good motive. I think it's weird depending on how long she has been with Torchwood.
Well, because
I'm like, what did you expect to happen? You were just gonna like, okay, I've been with them for like 5 months, and you're like, I'm just gonna start murdering. Like what?
Because like her whole motive is that she is doing the murders to test
whether or not she could bring someone back forever.
Yeah.
Right, which I get that. I think that's great. But in terms of being a member of Torchwood as well as doing that on the side, I'm like, you just thought that you would just get away with this. Do you forget who you are surrounded by and what you do for a living? Susie, look at me in my eyes just for a second and tell me you thought you would get away with this. And she'd be like, well, maybe, but no, Susie,
you
no.
are not that slick.
Susie, honey, baby, sweetie, no. Sweet summer child, put the gun down. So she shoots Jack. Do you know what's insane? I know Jack can't die, and
Yeah.
I didn't even think for a second, like watching this, like we haven't had that demonstrated yet. So this was sort of left field for me when I was like, oh, she like, and in my head she shot him, and I'm like, he can't die, but I'm also like, fucking, she shot him.
Yeah.
Like she didn't even
Well, I
hesitate.
think it's because in that scene, right? No, like we the audience know that Jack can't die.
Most of the audience,
yeah,
would hope,
most
right?
of the audience know, but
She doesn't.
Gwen and Susie don't know that, so it's like a fun little.
It's got to be a good thing to keep secret, right?
Yeah, well, because that's the thing. He says.
Otherwise, you get people like the Master who are like, I get to kill him again, which is dark. That John Sim as the Master is like, hey, in like 15 minutes he's gonna wake back up, and I just get to kill him again and again. I'm like, that's fucked up. Actually, don't. Please no.
But yeah, that because like I say, that's like I think another thing that sort of brings Jack and Gwen closer to the fact that now she knows his secret and no one else does.
Yeah,
or like no one else in the Torchwood team knows that that you can do that.
I do think it was a great scene. I mean, my note does just say, why are you crying? You were the one doing the murdering.
Yeah.
Like, why are you in tears for? And she also says, I'm pretty sure it's Susie that says the line, I thought it would be weevils and bollocks and shit.
Yeah.
Class. Weevils and bollocks and shit. That's like lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my.
Right? Oh, I'm not signed in. Never mind. There's a bit that I just thought of Torchwood that is like really funny to me. I think it's unintentionally funny. And that's when Jack raises from the ground and he's like, and his hair looks strange and he just looks a bit plasticky and he's just sort of in the middle like, yeah, I'm here too. And I'm like, Jack, stop it. It looks stupid and hawky. Very, very funny though. So I'm not even annoyed by it. I don't understand how God, what's her name? Susie doesn't see Jack move from the floor around behind her because he's like in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And she shoots him and she's looking towards Gwen. And for some reason in this sort of area, she's looking forward and like down to her left somewhere, I guess, Jack not only resuscitates himself because he just can't die, but then scuttles a little away.
He's like army
he's
crawling
got to stay
on the
low,
floor
right?
or something.
Yeah, he's got to stay low and then just like raises up behind her like a Terminator. But yeah, then as soon as she died, as soon as she like shot herself, which rest in peace, I guess. We're not doing a death count for this. We're not doing a confidential for this. We're just gonna. Are we doing it? We could just rank them at the end of the last episode. We'll just rank them
at the end of the last episode. Yeah, I don't think there's enough to discuss.
Yeah. So we, Susie dies. I thought that was like I saw it coming. I did as soon as I saw her with the gun. I was like, she's not gonna forgive herself. She's not gonna be taken in. She's just gonna kill herself or whatever. And as soon as she died, my note says, "Good news, Gwen. Torchwood has a vacancy."
Yeah.
Not realizing almost word for word.
That is what Jack will say.
Does he actually say Torchwood has a vacancy? I want to see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does say that. Basically,
Torchwood's got a vacancy.
Yeah.
Job going spare. So I'm almost word for word before that happened. I got it. I'm like, yeah, all right. Okay, there we go. He talks about on this last sort of, on the rooftop.
Yeah.
There is they talk about, maybe the right kind of doctor can fix him. I wonder who he's fucking talking about there, right? And just before we go, because have you got any trivia for this? I don't imagine, not really.
No.
There are a few things that I want to know if this show stops doing.
Okay.
Okay, now there's one thing I want to know if this show stops doing. The first one that I will address, even though it's like sort of towards the end, the pterodactyl got out.
Yeah.
No one in London or Cardiff or Wales, wherever the fuck they are, was just looked up and was like,
pterodactyl?
It's a fucking bird. That's a big fucking bird, that is. I know that's not how Welsh people sound, but I don't care. Like, no one noticed.
No.
Not addressed.
No.
Just got out.
Yeah.
All right.
Just looks cool, doesn't it?
Sick.
To end the episode like that.
Will the show, and you can answer me this, ever stop putting people in high places and just zooming around them with a camera? Because there is that, I saw this on Twitter and I showed you before, that one shot of Jack on the white building just standing like this.
Yeah, no, Jack likes to stand on things.
I was like, cool. I watched it. I was watching this episode and I was like, oh, it mustn't be in this one because I thought it was the opening shot to an episode. when I saw it on Twitter. So I was like, oh, it mustn't be in this one. Halfway through the episode, she goes to bed. The camera like goes, dips from black up and it's just Jack stood on this big white pillar of a building. And the camera is just helicopter shot because they didn't have drones back then. Just fucking zooming around him. And it goes on for like 90 seconds to possibly 2 minutes. It just goes on. And I'm like, okay, for why? but for why? And then I'm like, okay, I'll let it slide. And then we get to the end. And Gwen and Jack stood in a building and the camera pulls all the way out and I'm like, there is no way we're doing this again. And the camera just starts zooming around him. And I'm like, please tell me that this stops at some point.
Yeah, please tell me. They like to be tall.
Me too. I wish. But I'm stuck at Michael J. Fox, Billy Piper size. Let's check how tall Eve Myles is. I hope I'm not one Eve Myles tall. Should we check before we leave?
I want to say she's a little bit
taller, right? 5'6". God, she's bigger than me.
Yeah.
God, fuck you, Eve Myles. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Please be a friend of the show, Eve Myles. And then from the Next Time trailer, all I took from that was come back next week for aliens and shagging.
Yeah.
And am I right to expect those two things from next week's episode?
Yep, that is exactly what you were going to get.
Like 50 minutes of just aliens and shagging.
Yeah.
Wicked. Are we doing ratings for this?
Yeah, we'll do ratings for it.
Okay, here is the problem with my ratings for this.
Right.
With Doctor Who, I know the line. I know when I've reached a 5. I know when I'm like, this is peak TV. I know when the show, within its own merit, has reached its potential. I can't tell that with Torchwood.
Yeah.
I can sort of tell that with Sarah Jane a bit more. I can't do it with this one. So I'll probably stick in line with whatever you say for this episode and then go from there.
I'm giving this a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. I think it was strong. Like, there's a few things where I'm like, this is dumb and this is hokey, such as like when they go up on the roof, like in the little lift thing. I'm like, this is kind of stupid, but enjoyable.
Here's the thing with Torchwood, as I have said to you before, the episode to episode quality varies wildly. Season by season, it gets much better. Like in season 1, say like for instance, there is like 5 solid episodes in season 1.
That's not promising for a 13
get
episode
to season 2 and it's just a number off the top of my head. But like get to season 2
thumbnail on iPlayer.
Get to season 2, you'll have like a lot more episodes. Children of Earth, whatever, basically solid all the way through. Miracle Day, iffy, but I like it. But for as much as you might get a few shitty episodes of Torchwood, when you get a good one, oh my God, it's good.
Well, I mean, I did enjoy it. I'm looking forward to continuing. Like I said to you earlier, I was debating on whether to just watch the show and then like carry on watching it on my own time now and then rewatch it whenever we were going to record to make notes. But I feel like the notes are better when I'm like, I've never seen this. I
think this is a fun format.
So, next week we'll watch. I don't even know. Normally I can be like, next week it's Tooth and Claw. I don't even know
next
the episode.
Week it's day one.
Day 1.
They were aired back to back originally.
Same day.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
I can kind of see that. To go like, hey, we're getting more adult with it. We'll give you the bloody bit and then the sexy bit afterwards. And then we go, okay, awesome.
But that's Torchwood.
That's Torchwood episode 1.
Yeah.
We are DW Rewind everywhere, not Torchwood. Don't mix that up, okay? We are DW Rewind everywhere, not TW Rewind everywhere, because that could be misconstrued. Let us know if you enjoyed it. Did you hate it? Do you hate Torchwood? Why do you hate Torchwood? Have you never seen it? Maybe people, I wonder if there must be people out there like me who have only seen Doctor Who and never seen a spin-off.
Yeah.
Go watch it. It was fun. I will say, as someone who hadn't watched, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's more adult. I am really actually looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time, and we'll get like a bit like this again. If this goes well, this is exactly how I will approach Classic Who, where I'm watching it as we do the show. If there is anything stand out, by the way, that you are like, we got to watch this one together, then let me know in advance.
I totally will, because there are a few that we...
For Torchwood as well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. Well, we'll see you Wednesday for Doctor Who and Saturday again.
Torchwood.
This is going to be a horrible format. Can't wait to fuck it up somehow.
We'll be fine.
Yeah. See you then.
Yep.
Bye.